Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome, boys and girls, to episode 145 of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We are powered by 8bit.net and Audio Technica. I'm your not-so-humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan 8bit. And joining me today, my returning co-hosts, back in full force now, the three of us, ready to kick some gaming ass. We've got Salim Abraham, whom we found at Salim TD, and Miss Ali Hart, whom we found at Miss Ali Hart. Welcome back to the Hungry HQ. It's been a while since we've all been in the same remote room. How you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Glad to have the family back together around the breakfast table.
Very excited. Dream, how did you go last week with those Cadbury cream eggs and pegging them at Fraser Anning? I haven't seen anything hit the airwaves yet, so it's, what is going on?
I don't know where to go with that. I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, actually.
Okay, I'll give a nice segue. I was at Target yesterday.
Okay.
And now there are Cadbury cream eggs doing a crossover with WizFizz.
Ew.
Cadbury cream egg WizFizz.
Yeah,
I didn't buy one. I need to buy one just to try it and be appalled.
You know what I think it would be like? I think it would be like the Cadbury Marvelous Creations. I think that's the kind of
Why do we have to keep on mixing
direction they're going
shit?
down.
I do like some of the Marvelous Creations, though. Some
don't
of them
mind them
flavour
either,
combos
yeah.
are the bomb.
They're
I
not
can't
bad.
stand that stuff. I hate it when they start mixing jellies with chocolate and all that sort of jazz. Let's keep it simple. Keep it creamy. Hashtag.
Kiss method. Yes, keep it creamy. Speaking of keeping it creamy, I went to do the annual pilgrimage to Costco on Friday on the way back from a meeting. It doesn't take much to spend a lot of money in there.
That's what
it's
I've heard.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I left with a bucket of pretzels about the size of a small child.
I love hearing what's that item where you've realised you've hit ultimate Costco? Like a bucket of pretzels? Yeah, that's about right.
The bucket of pretzels, and Rach and I were talking the other day about like breakfast, and we were talking about instead of bacon, you know how you can do the ham steaks?
Oh yeah.
So I bought some ham steak from Costco, but obviously you can't just buy a ham steak. Instead, I got like a packet of 10 sealed ham steaks. So I've got enough ham that's probably the size of a small child as well in the fridge now. But we had some yesterday. It was delicious.
A little ham child.
Yeah.
I've had the luck of actually going to American Costco, which is just like I feel like it's like Wizard of Oz. I'm pretty certain that's what Dorothy felt like. And it has the greatest thing that I've ever witnessed, which is like a full like I can't remember how much, but it's Mexican Coke. You can buy like a little small pallet of
like
Mexican
a crate.
Coke. Yeah, and I'm just like, this is what dreams are made of.
That's pretty special. I also, because my intention to go there is because they do sort of my favorite American style pizza that I've sort of found on our shores. $14 for a big like 18-incher. So you're practically making money going to buy these pizzas. So I bought the pizza. They cooked it fresh and chucked it in the car, and it's about 60 odd k's to home. But I'm sitting there driving in the traffic on my way home, and I'm trying to like get these giant slices of pizza out of the pizza box as I'm driving. Navigating this thing, like draping itself all down my arm and on my chin, trying not to like hit the car in front of me. It was quite the fun ride home.
I gotta ask, does Australian Costco do the little side restaurant where they serve hot dogs and slices of pizza?
That's where you do the pizza. Yeah.
Now, are we suffered by the conversion and actually have to pay more?
No, we do a little bit. Like it's $14 for that big pizza, so it's cheap as chips still.
What about the hot
but
dog?
we do pay more. The hot dogs, I think they're $3.
More expensive than IKEA.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I love hot dogs.
Isn't it like $1.50 for a drink and a hot dog?
Yeah, it's definitely not that over here. But yeah, Costco's the best. And there's one opening. It was meant to open here in October near where I live, but it's now been pushed to April. So I'm very excited to be able to only have to drive 10 Ks as opposed to 60 to get these pizzas. So bring it on.
Less pieces to eat while driving.
Yes, it is dangerous. I don't recommend trying to eat a giant slice of 18-inch pizza while driving a car in traffic. It is not wise. Not wise at all.
It. Let your dreams become reality.
Anywho, I guess we should sort of pivot into what we're usually here for and talk about some video games. What have you been playing, Miss Hart? Tell me the things.
Well, as naturally, I've been continuing on with Division 2 on PC. I've actually leveled up now. I think I'm like maybe 18, 19 now. Haven't reached the end game yet. I'm hearing a lot of great things about it still. But my love for this game hasn't dwindled. I'm enjoying it more and more and more. I kind of thought that after a while I would hit that repetition phase and I'd actually start getting bored. But as you level up and as things continue on, the story grows, the side missions, keep on growing. I'm enjoying it. It's not dying down for me, and I'm absolutely loving it. Getting kitted out and following all the little collectibles. So, yeah, I'm still having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it, but I'm just missing that hook right now. I don't know if maybe it's just I'm not in the mood for the old loot shooter, but I don't know. Like there's no inkling. You know when like a new game comes out and you go to work and you're sort of sitting there at work thinking, man, I can't wait to get home and fire up Division 2 or Game XY. I don't have that at the moment. It's like I'm getting home and Rach and I will be like sitting around like, do you want to play some Division 2? And it's like,
yeah,
maybe. Okay. Like, I don't know. It's just not ticking all the boxes for me. Like, it's great graphically. The combat's tight. The story's a bit better. But at the same time, like what we talked about last week, Hart, like, I couldn't tell you who half the goddamn characters are. Like, I got a general understanding of the narrative, but I don't really care about anyone.
And you know what? And like even elaborating on like what we said last week is, yeah, I'm not hooked on the story. I can't even tell you half the people are. I've unlocked a good majority. I think I have like Emma left. I think is the last staff member that I have to unlock. But I really don't care. The story-wise, I think I just saved the president. I don't know. Don't really care. But it's not the story that's really grabbing me in. It's the gameplay. It's building up my gear. It's like coordinating mods now onto all my vests,
onto your
gloves,
weapons and
then
your kit,
coordinating which brand of armor I'm wearing, so then I can use the multipliers on it as well. Like, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just enjoying it. Like, which I'm glad, because this was definitely a game that I was anticipating, and I'm glad it actually paid out. But yeah, I guess it's not for everyone. It's not the tingly sensation for everyone.
Can I ask what are you finding is your go-to sort of weapons, like gun? What are your guns of choice taken into battle? Like, do you sort of have two contrasting weapon styles where you have like a range, sniper type of gun and then like an SMG, or do you just take what's highest rated in your kit? Or
no, I'm pretty bad in the sense I've actually only just refreshed my kit out because I was just so happy with what I was holding and how it felt. But obviously as you level up, the enemies get harder, and then it's not doing the right amount of damage that it should at your level. So I've only just changed it recently. I'm still sticking to a rifle, not a marksman, because I feel like the marksman rifles always are just a hindrance as being purely sniper. So I feel like just a straight out rifle is always a good mix of being, just straight out combat and, long distance combat. And I think I've actually kitted myself out now with a submachine gun. And I only did that because the rollout that I had with it was good against epic enemies. It breaks shields, and I think there was something in regards to just a certain critical hits make them like either bleed or poison, and it's really, really working out well. Like, I'm absolutely demolishing, like even the big players, like the yellow bar.
Enemies, like sort of almost like the mini bosses almost, you could call them.
Yeah. I'm just melting through them. So
yeah,
I only just changed that recently.
I've been sort of sticking traditionally with a big old LMG, and then when you chuck a few mods on it so it doesn't really kick and jump all over the screen, having a gun with like 100 bullet clip is great, especially for sort of waves of trash mobs and things like that. And then I was doing an SMG as well, but I've just noticed a lot of SMGs have like really low clips, Like they're under 20 bullets in a clip, and you can go through that in the blink of an eye. So you're constantly reloading without taking massive damage off some enemies. So I think I'm using like an M4 assault rifle coupled with the LMG at the moment. So they're both sort of mid-range guns, but they can do a lot of damage up close.
Yeah.
And then with my my two abilities, I'm using the little health orb Christmas ornament looking thing that hangs off the back of your pack that you can sort of drop, and it'll do sort of dot-based healing, or hot. Would you call it hot healing over time?
Hots,
if that's not a thing, it is now. And then also I've been jumping between either the flamethrower turret or the chem launcher with the flame attachment on it as well, because they can do mass damages to individual and sort of groups of enemies.
Yeah, I've kept my turret buddy just standard like full
the assault.
Yeah, like I've kept that. It's just way too useful to me for me to ever swap it out. But I have actually kind of switched it out. I did the Hive booster. I was trying that one out. I wasn't really seeing any major differences between me and like whoever I was playing with. So now I have switched it to the chem, but the foam one where
yeah, and it sticks them all.
Yeah. Honestly, it's not that effective. I'm not seeing the effectiveness. Only with big enemies though. You keep them in the spot and everyone just attacks at once. I did use the Firefly for blinding, and that was extremely effective for when you ever enter a room and all the bad guys haven't noticed you yet and they're kind of within the same area. You can blind them all, and then that really puts you ahead. Like you can demolish them. So
yeah, the combat's fun. I'm still enjoying that aspect of it, but I think I was just looking for something with a bit more narrative as my itch that I need scratching at the moment.
Yeah, you are a bit of a narrative
yeah,
fan.
I'm a story man. Dream, what about you? Like, you haven't jumped on the Div 2 wagon yet. Are you still thinking about it? Is it something of interest to you? Where do you stand with the Division 2?
I have next to no interest in jumping into the Division 2. Just to be totally clear about it. I am so time poor right now. Uni's just started up. I'm working fucking full-time hours. I'm losing my hair slowly, Brendan, to life. And what I don't need right now is another life in a virtual world where
in Washington DC.
Yeah. Going crazy and oh my god, sorry, I just saw a message come up. One of the graduates at my company just invited me to his wedding on Facebook. Wow. All right, not going, Alan. So anyway,
I'm sure the wedding's going to be beautiful though, mate.
It's on April 26th. It's so close. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
I have a feeling someone must have dropped out and they're like, shit,
yeah.
we need to fill this spot.
Yeah, for sure. And now I've got to come up with a gift. Go fuck yourself, Nalan.
Presents.
So to answer your question, I'd be less likely to jump into something like the Division 2. It really does have, I really do have very little interest in it. And I think it's because the mechanics, just the general flow of, like you described, Brendan, like the looter shooter. I know exactly what I'm getting into. So if it's not going to be for that, it's going to be for the story. And I don't care about saving an American president. It doesn't really sound like something that really resonates with me.
One mission.
A dystopic sort of, post-apocalyptic future. Yeah, that's kind of cool, but I get that everywhere else. Like, there are so many games with a, end of the world vibe in them at the moment. I'm just, I'm feeling fine. I don't feel like I'm missing out.
It's about the human condition, Sam. Well,
when have you ever cared about the human condition, Ali?
If it makes you feel better, you can, for the price. Apparently, the attention to detail for DC and just all the buildings and all the environments, like the Lincoln Memorial, the giant phallic tall white thing that's I don't know what that's called.
Penis pencil.
Yeah, whatever. The white penis pencil statue. Apparently the attention to detail is actually quite incredible. So if you want to think about it that way, you could take a trip to DC. Probably how DC is going to be in 4 years?
I could look at photos of DC to get the same. We're giving it 4 years, are we, Ali? All right.
I don't know.
Well, if Trump gets re-elected, who knows?
Yeah.
Possibilities are endless.
Yeah. To be fair to him, though, no real wars so far yet. Just putting it out there.
That's true.
He's kept his
That's
finger
true.
off the nuke button so far. So, anyway.
Hooray.
But yeah, Division 2, it is what it is for me. It's fun. It's a good time killer. I'm going to persist and push to that level 30 cap over the next week or two and sort of see if my opinions change when I do get into that end game content. Maybe it will. Maybe a little bit more, dipping of the toe into the dark zone might sort of sway me a little bit, getting that sort of PvP aspect. But at the moment, yeah, it's fun, but I'm looking for more. Does that make sense?
I guess. It's just narrative for you, isn't it? It's just it's not grabbing you.
Yeah. I like the emotional attachment to a character or characters in a game. I think that's my biggest Achilles heel for gaming that sort of will just grab me from the jump. And outside of a lady that's missing a leg and you got to save a daughter, like Odetta. Outside of that, I couldn't name a single character in this game outside of my own division agent.
I have more emotional attachment to the enemies. I love the shit that they yell at you all the time, or all the little banter that they say in the background. Like, yeah, I love it. Yeah. But oh well. Not fair.
Yeah. So, a game that I do love, but is absolutely royally kicking my fucking ass at the moment. I've been playing a little bit of Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. And my goodness, was I not prepared for this game. I'm not a big Souls guy, like as in I admire that franchise and that style of game, but I've never been very good at that style of game. I think I like my combat to have a little bit of forgiveness in it, where if I am sort of not as quick on one button command, I can potentially get out of it and still sort of have a good experience. But obviously with the Souls games, one wrong move and you're kaput for the most part. And that is pretty evident in Sekiro. It's really good though. Like, I'm really enjoying it. I've only probably played 3 to 4 hours max at this stage. But I love this universe that From Software have created. They've sort of combined new elements into that traditional Souls gameplay, like having the grappling hook, so you can traverse the environment, you can escape really quickly, which is one thing that I found myself doing pretty regularly during my 3 to 4 hours is, laying a couple of slashes and then putting distance between me and the enemy because I was overwhelmed or extremely stressed. But it is really nice. The world is fantastic. It's sort of that, feudal Japan, but then obviously it's splicing in this demon sort of subsect and blending it together. As they do with these Souls types of games. Starts out pretty grounded and then it just goes bizarro demon world. And you can see that's where they're going with Sekiro as well. The first boss, or the first mini boss I come up against, I think he was like the Chained Ogre, I think is what his name was. He was whooping my fucking ass for so long. And I don't know, I'm not patient with a lot of games. I've been known to throw some expletives at the screens when things don't go my way. So there was a few cuss words getting thrown around when I was doing battle with this guy. But you know what? I sort of found my little zen moment and sort of realigned my chakras and then sort of, went at it and was looking at sort of his moves and how to react to said moves and how he sort of navigated the battlefield. And I took this big bastard down after, a handful of attempts. And I got that sense of reward, that sense of like, I've achieved something here. And I like that with this franchise, but I like that it's a little bit more actiony as opposed to sort of that traditional sort of Souls recipe. But it's so good. It reminds me a little bit of Tenchu, but just with the difficulty
I was going
turned to the hardest.
I've been meaning to ask someone, I'm like, is there any Tenchu vibes? Because if there's Tenchu vibes, I'm going to have to buy this game.
Yeah, it's got some Tenchu vibes. Whether it be from the art style to the combat to even just the executions you do, like the stealth attacks you do on some of these enemies, and blood's covering the screen, and there's limbs and appendages going everywhere. Like it's very much big boy pants Tenchu with the difficulty at the furthest end of the spectrum. But it's great. It's great.
I've been really enjoying following people's Twitter feeds with this game because, like, it's very interesting to see, like, when people have obviously just first started playing maybe the first few hours of it and they're like, oh, this game, it's beautiful, it's awesome, it's amazing, it's la la la. And then obviously they've played maybe about 10 hours now or 15 hours now and they're like, fuck this game. It's so difficult. I can't take it anymore. And it's just like, this is a roller coaster of emotion. I'm glad that this game turned out to be something more than what a lot of people were saying. They thought it was going to be something that was very oversimplified combat.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that this was definitely, more than that.
Yeah, like obviously the biggest change from the Souls games would be how they've sort of taken the character creation aspect out of it, where you can do certain classes and what have you.
Yeah.
You are your Sekiro and you can level up your stats and things like that, but upgrading your gear and what have you, it is very limited with your customization, which is a big sort of step away from the previous franchises, but it doesn't take away any of the elements of the aspects of the game, I don't think. I like that they've got this character that's sort of fleshed out, and you've got this story that you're sort of following where trying to take revenge on another samurai. So it's that traditional sort of Japanese spaghetti westerny sort of infusion of story, but it's so good. Dream, are you gonna play this? Are you much of a Souls boy?
I'm absolutely gonna play this game. I'm very excited to play Sekiro. I haven't picked it up just yet. I think it'll be in the next week or two that I'll grab it, just looking at the schedule. I love Dark Souls 3, right? So I really, really, really enjoy that game. And just hearing you describe your first impressions of Sekiro, it sounds exactly like Dark Souls 3. It sounds like exactly like Dark Souls 2 as well, which for any From Software title. I just, literally talking about the first boss and just how it just thumps you. The first boss in Souls 3, I think it took me the best part of 2 hours to try and get through, which sounds ridiculous, considering that you encounter that thing within the first 15 minutes of the game. I'm glad that this sounds like a bloody hellscape for people to try and traverse through. It sounds phenomenal.
Yeah, one thing I like about it too is the reliance on stealth. So it does have that traditional sort of shinobi mantra where you attack from the shadows, or you can be hiding up in a tree and you can jump down and stealth attack certain enemies. So I like that it's got that weaved into it as well. So yeah, From Software have done really, really well with Sekiro. I think you can see the reviews already. Like it's very, very highly praised throughout pretty well all channels from what I can see. And I'm excited to push through more and try and feel like a badass as I try and perfect the block, deflect, and sort of dodge mechanics within the game. But it's cool. I love wielding that katana and being a badass. Or at least 1% of the time I feel badass, and the rest I'm just running and hiding and fearing for my life. But that 1% feels great.
It's all repetition. Like that's like I can't state that enough, and that's where it really does separate the people who are like, oh, this looks cool, from the people who are like, I am not going to go anywhere until I get through this one part, however long it takes me. Yeah,
and rewiring that old muscle memory to sort of work the button mapping, as well as, okay, I know that's sort of an archer type of enemy. They typically telegraph moves by doing X or Y. Okay, so I can combat that with another sort of option. So yeah, just getting all that rewiring in my brain at the moment's been a big hurdle, but I'm enjoying the challenge. And yeah, if anyone wants to feel like a helpless samurai but also feel that real sense of reward from a game, like, it's certainly something to look at. Or anyone that's a fan of the Dark Souls series or Bloodborne, get amongst it, because who doesn't want to be some gangster shinobi dude in feudal Japan slaying rival shinobi and demons? It's like Ninja Scroll. God damn it. I only just sort of connected the dots. It's fucking Ninja Scroll. This game's even better for me now.
Oh, man. No, the game looks gorgeous, and the videos that are coming out of it that a lot of people are dropping is pretty interesting. I'm seeing a lot about a giant snake at the moment, which actually looks terrifying to me. But
the big, like looks sort of like a panther, but it's not a panther, a python.
It looks like a panther.
Yeah, but it's this big albino snake that just sort of skulks around that you got to avoid because it can kill you pretty well instantly. So that's cool.
Yeah. So I might have to look into investing in this one.
So I see you've been playing one other game there, Miss Hart.
Yeah. Some people may have heard that I've played this a few times before on the podcast, Crypt of the Necrodancer. So I decided to play it again because it recently got announced that they are now going to be collaborating with Nintendo and with Zelda specifically with a game called Cadence of Hyrule. Which essentially is going to be the same kind of game style, which is like a dungeon crawler with movement in regards to a beat and timing. So actions have to be performed within a beat for multipliers. But with this, they're pretty much kind of reskinning it with Zelda properties and Zelda characters, with the inclusion of the main character. So
a lot of hype after that Nintendo Direct on that, and also one other thing we'll sort of talk about in the news. But it's cool to see because you were flying this flag pretty heavily with Crypt of the Necrodancer. And I know a couple other people in our circle have played it, but it's not a title that sort of got mass coverage or a huge amount of focus. But now it's certainly got a lot of eyes on the franchise.
It's fantastic. Like obviously I'm going to say the game is freaking awesome because I play it a little bit too often, but this kind of collaboration where a company like, a relatively small company that came out with this little game on the side now has one of the most popular gaming properties attached to it and said, yeah, let's work together. Let's create something together with it. That's massive. It's a big deal. So I look forward to it when it comes out. I think spring, but I don't know what that means.
Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere release schedule always confuses me for a second.
Oh, it sucks because they'll be like, coming winter, and you'll be like, that's only a few months away. And then you realize it's their winter and it's like end of year.
Yeah. So, Dream, do you have anything to add to been playing, or should we just sort of keep on moving through this jam-packed agenda for episode 144?
Nothing of note. I've been playing a new Snap game this week, Knights of Pen and Paper 2, which was an ad I saw on my Instagram, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a crack. It looks like kind of fun. It's this retro sort of graphics. It's a freemium game through and through, but it's actually kind of fun. It's all based on the mechanics of like D&D, and you create your own little party, and you have like a DM, like a person who's actually a DM who just kind of talks you through the quests and stuff that's going on. It's heavily based on the mechanics of D&D, and that you do things like anytime you travel from A to B, that you roll a D20 and you can get attacked if you roll low enough. It's actually surprisingly a lot of fun. It's not a bad Snap game. If you want to try something a little bit fun and different and D&D related, I would recommend Knights of Pen and Paper 2. Can't believe I'm saying this. All right. Anyway, yeah, that's
that is not a paid advertisement.
That is not a paid advertisement.
God honest truth, straight from Dream's heart.
Yeah, I've actually sunk about 3 hours into this game.
Damn.
Yeah,
get yourself a copy of Sekiro and come struggle with me.
I will, sir.
Yeah, and sadly we can't jump in and help each other. There's no multiplayer. I should have mentioned too.
Oh,
so
really?
There's none of that from previous Souls entries.
Yeah.
There is in the Division.
That is true.
Just saying.
Just no heart and soul.
Plenty of heart. I'm playing it.
Ah, damn it. She's on fire today. All right, so let's move on to a quick bit of housekeeping. Obviously, the biggest thing that we've got going on at the moment is we've got our own Patreon, which we've recently launched about a month and a half ago now. Doing well. If you want to head over to patreon.com/weare8bit and dip into those pockets, throw a little bit of spare change at us. From the low price of $1 per month, you can get early access to the 8-Bit Cast, which is our fortnightly conversational podcast by various members of the hashtag 8-Bit Collective. Episode 4, which is coming out on April the 1st. We have pivoted the rosters, and we've actually got Dream and the Forever Movie Boys sitting down to have a bit of a powwow on episode 4, which is very exciting. And then episode 5, we'll see myself, Dash, Eldar, as well as Sammy Deej get together to talk about a few things, which we are refining at the moment. So very exciting times. If you want to throw a little bit more than $1 behind us, you do get access to various perks and bonuses, merch you can't find anywhere else, other swag, bonus entries 2 giveaways we are running. And on the talk of giveaways, we are currently running a promo where you can get yourself a brand new set of Audio-Technica M40X headphones, as well as a Audio-Technica mod mic attachment, which can hypothetically turn any set of headphones into a full-fledged gaming headset. So you can use them M40s at home, playing your games, comms with your friends, and then take that mod mic off and rock them around town as streetwear. So it's about 250 odd AUD worth of swag. So check out our Twitter, twitter.com/weare8bit, for how to enter there. Really simple. Just rating us, subscribing to things, sharing the posts, things like that. And the winner will be drawn on April the 1st on that, which will be, a week away. So get hyped on that. Something else to get hyped on. Next episode 145. We'll see us joined by Ultra Super Mega and their host, their founder, their sensei. Matty Perkins will be jumping on to co-host episode 145 with us. So get excited for next week. We haven't worked out what we're going to be doing with him, but it's going to be fun, and maybe we'll try and bring some kind of shenanigans to the table as well. So, Dream, Ali, shall we talk some news?
This week's news headlines.
All right, a couple of quick hits. Noob Saibot has been confirmed he is returning in Mortal Kombat 11, as well as Shang Tsung, who will be returning via DLC. Noob Saibot, as you know, is sort of like a ethereal shadow ninja. And for those that didn't know, Noob Saibot's name is a wordplay on Boone and Tobias, the 2 creators of Mortal Kombat. So there's a little Mortal Kombat fact for you.
I didn't know that. I saw your Twitter post on it and I went, really? Like, that's cool. Because, like, any kind of, like, version of doing that kind of way of, like, naming something of, like, let's just do our names backwards never really sounds that cool. Yet Noob Saibot just has always sounded like a badass. So
Yeah. So obviously Boone and Tobias, the 2 surnames of the founders of Mortal Kombat, hence Noob Saibot. The trailer they released for him looked pretty damn nasty. He was whooping ass all over the screen, and his fatality looks great. I love this franchise, and just the gore and the brutality levels is just dialed to 55, it feels like.
Yeah, well, Shang Tsung's looking old as fuck, though.
And, you know, he looks like they've used the character model from Carrie, I can't remember his surname, that actually played Shang Tsung in the Mortal Kombat movies. It looks like him, just older. I wonder if they've used him to character model. If they did, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, some of the character changes that they've been making for this, you know, for Mortal Kombat 11, there's been a few little bits of backlash. Like, I know that a lot of people didn't appreciate that one of the girls, Katana maybe, wasn't as revealing as they would have hoped.
And even Jade as well. Yeah, they've covered up all them big old biddies that the franchise has been known for the last few entries. Them thirsty boys need to go over to Dead or Alive and get their video game related smut now. So we'll see.
Don't get me wrong, I'm a stickler for, like, staying, you know, close to original content, and those girls weren't packed away too well. But, like, just seeing, like, a few small changes here and there has been pretty interesting with Mortal Kombat 11. And with, like, especially when you see characters you grew up with and are very, you know, very soft digital age way back when, and now that they have the ability to really, like, essentially bring them to life, I guess you kind of just want to see what that rendition looks like. But
exactly.
Everyone likes boobs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and whoever doesn't, you weird.
Big fan.
Dream, you got any skin in the game with Mortal Kombat?
No, not
I know
really.
You're a Tekken boy through and through.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, less than that. I don't think I ever really had a Mortal Kombat game growing up. I definitely borrowed a couple from friends over time, and you know, I know what it's all about. But I just never really got behind it. And this sounds dumb, I guess, when I am a Tekken fan and that story is just balls to the wall bonkers. Mortal Kombat's story to me just seems far more fucking ludicrous. This is incredibly hypocritical. But just like the whole, like, what is it? Like, Johnny Cage is an actor. Sonya's like a special forces person. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Raiden is the god of thunder.
Yep.
Yep.
Yet he uses lightning all the time.
Stop me when I'm wrong. Shang Tsung is trying to bring the forces of Outworld to take over the Earth.
Yeah, like Shang Tsung's sort of almost become a bit of an ancillary baddie these days. Like, he So obviously the OG Big Bad, and then you've got Shao Kahn and Goro and all the others. And I think Kratos Khan is one of the baddies. And then I can't remember the female antagonist name for MK11. But yeah, it's a very muddy story. But I guess the basis of it is, Outworld is trying to overtake, the Earth realm. So they have a tournament pitting Earth's greatest fighters against various members of Outworld to see if Earth gets taken over, and rinse repeat. Really,
it doesn't.
What's so far-fetched about that, Sam?
In my head, it's like, okay, what's crazier? Is that crazier, or is it crazier for a Japanese owned conglomerate headed up by Heihachi Mishima, a man who threw his son into a volcano, whose son then made a deal with the devil and came back as devil? Like what
and
is
then there's
crazier?
Devil Jin, his grandson, and
What is actually crazier? And now Akuma,
and then there's a
and now
kangaroo,
Akuma's part of our
boxing
lore.
kangaroo.
Yeah, we've got a boxing kangaroo fighting a raptor.
To be fair, a boxing kangaroo and a fighting bear is very real life. That's probably the closest thing to reality in there.
Yeah, you're right. Tekken is based in reality. Mortal Kombat's crazy. Anyway, I guess going back to your question, no, I'm not. I don't really have a horse in the race when it comes to Mortal Kombat.
He's invested in debunking the story, but in the actual game, he's got nothing.
I like realism. I like realism in my fighting games.
Far too ludicrous to throw my
someone
support
in a
behind.
volcano and then get Sam invested.
The thing I like about Tekken is even the fighting style mimics real life. Like anytime I've been in a scrap, I do a launcher, I do a string to keep them in the air for a little while, and then I bound them by hitting them downwards. That's how all of my fights have always gone.
Hey, so does Mortal Kombat. You punch someone in the nuts, you know they're going to be struggling for a little while.
Not only do you know, it shows you the nuts bust. Is what it will show you.
See, who doesn't want that kind of realism in a fighting game?
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so the next quick hit. Capcom have shifted 2 million units of Devil May Cry 5 in the first 2 weeks, with the series as a whole pushing towards 20 million units sold. So diving a little bit deeper onto that, so DMC 5 came out 2 weeks ago, and it is now sort of the fastest selling game in the franchise. So it's pretty exciting times for Capcom and fans of the Devil May Cry universe. I've already said pretty heavily that it's a fantastic title, well worth your time. The review is now up on the youtube.com/We Are 8-Bit, so give it a look. It's about a 6-minute video sort of review that I've put together, sort of showcasing my thoughts on the series as a whole, as well as the execution of Devil May Cry 5, and overall it's hashtag 8-Bit approved. So check it out, youtube.com/We Are 8-Bit. But 20 million units, that's nothing to cry about.
No, I'm in the most non-offensive way possible. I'm actually genuinely surprised how popular this game was for like when it released. It's like I said, it's been one of those series that I've actually never gravitated to. Playing it briefly, playing the demo, I can see it's like graphically amazing. The combat's quite enjoyable. I just recognize that it's not my kind of game. But seeing the overwhelming popularity on social media actually quite surprised me. Everyone loves it. So.
Oh yeah. Capcom are 2 for 2 so far this year. So kudos to everyone involved over there. And the next little quick hit via Super Data, Apex Legends' $92 million launch month is the best ever for a free-to-play game. So the first amount of financial data came out on the back of Apex Legends' success over the last 4 or 5 weeks. Now we do have the Battle Pass available as well, which is a story for another day. It is in the circles, the Apex community, it is getting sort of panned to being a little bit of a hollow, weak Battle Pass, not really worth the financial investment. But $92 million in the first 4 weeks of hitting the marketplace, that's mighty impressive.
I'm wondering if that's like one of those things where, since everyone else that had free-to-play games, especially also within that Battle Royale segment, they laid the groundwork of almost like kind of like what's to be expected kind of mentality. Yeah. So people were already ready to like drop money on, loot boxes and such. So, based on the Battle Pass, I gotta say nothing made me want to get that. Nothing about the selling point made me want to get that. So I actually haven't bought it. But the drop of Octane's been pretty interesting. I'm really enjoying. Like, I've never played it, but I'm really enjoying the content that's coming out of gameplay with Octane.
Yeah, I'm keen to give him a go. Like, I had full intention of playing some Apex this week, but yeah, just timing got away. But from what I've seen and feedback on the socials, he seems like a ton of fun to play. His scalability with his little, jump pack ulti that can sort of get you up and above enemies, as well as his sort of self-sacrifice ability where he can take a little bit of health to move. I think it's 30% quicker. So you can close the gap on enemies or open that gap if you're getting hunted yourself. I like that sort of utility he's got in that regard. But yeah, the battle pass, there's 3 character skins, and then I think there's only 3 decent gun skins worth talking about. The rest is just trash.
Yeah, like character skins didn't appeal to me at all. I've completely forgotten what they actually called this battle pass. They gave it a name, like
it was like wild something.
Yeah, something like along those lines. And I looked at skins, I wasn't impressed. And yeah, like I said, overall the selling point didn't win me over, so I won't be jumping on that. And I don't really play it enough, I guess, to justify it. And
they've already said to get to the level 100 on the battle pass, it's going to take you probably 100 plus hours to reach level 100 on the battle pass season. So yeah, you got to throw a fair amount of time in to get to the end to get not a whole lot.
Yeah, I'll pass on that one.
Dream, you still playing some Apex?
God, no.
I'm off that train.
Yeah, I don't know. It was fun, don't get me wrong. I was really enjoying it when I played it, but again, going back to the same old thing, it's very time poor at the moment, and so it's not really something that I need in my life right now is an excuse not to tend to my responsibilities. That game would absolutely give me. I know I'd just be sitting there for hours just saying one more,
It does that to you, this game.
Oh yeah. I am a big advocate for that. But something that could give you that that nice feel and the warm and fuzzies is some more content moving over to the Epic Store. So we've had the Outer Worlds Control and Dauntless making their way over to the Epic Store. And then on the back of that as well, we had some more PC-related excitement. Quantic Dream have announced that Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become Human would have their PC debut on Epic Storefront as well. So Epic still swinging that big penis around, taking all these titles. Tencent, the Asian sort of money factory, is just laughing all the way to the bank. But yeah, interesting, very interesting. Control is a title that got a little bit of hype last year at E3, but hasn't really had much chatter until this announcement. It's coming out later this year. It was done by I can't remember the studio name now, but they were a Microsoft house that did Alan Wake and then Quantum Break, and now they're going across other platforms. So
yeah, I know that I heard actually a lot of disappointment hearing that Outer Worlds would be going to the Epic Store, because I think that actually then came with a delay on the actual release. So I saw a lot of people who were hyping that for that game actually extremely disappointed hearing that Epic Store has now obtained the the selling prompt of that one. So
yeah,
I don't know how I'm feeling about this. Like, this whole, I know that Epic Store, I know that there's been a few articles now about, Epic Store seeing that they're actually doing this for the gamers and stuff, but right now I'm not seeing the convenience. I'm not seeing, I got really screwed around buying the Division from Epic Store, but then having to load it up on my Uplay and then connecting the two, and it was a real pain in my ass. So
yeah, the ease of access for consumers isn't really there on the Epic Store. There's a few articles out there showing the contrast of what's available on Steam and what's not available on Steam, as far as friends list, achievements, being able to play offline, so on and so forth. It's a pretty sizable list, and no doubt Epic are going to be implementing them over time, but it's very much at this stage, I think this is a decision from the publisher directly, where obviously they can get 70% of the sales profits here. 88% of the sales profits, where Epic are only taking 12%, where Steam take 30%. So I think it's just a dollars and cents thing for these teams out there.
Yeah. Well, they're obviously going to see what it does to them, whether it's actually turns success or not. So.
Well, they did say Metro Exodus is the best-selling game on the PC in the franchise so far. Apparently, its sales are up, I think it was 25%, and it was a Epic exclusive, which pivoted from Steam at the 11th hour. So maybe people just follow the franchise. If you got a love affair with the game, you just buy it wherever you can if you love said game, I guess. Question mark?
I guess. I just don't know what that would have hindered, whether it was available on Steam or not. But, oh well. Only time will tell.
What do you reckon, Jerry? Are you firmly in the Epic court?
Am I firmly in the Epic court?
Where do you stand?
Well, like you said, I think it's more for developers at the moment. It's more beneficial for them to be going there than for the players. I don't know. Steam's still such a giant. How do you even compare? Really, there's like 2/5 of nothing on Epic at the moment, and absolutely everything on Steam. Even with big titles like that, who cares? As a player, you have access to both. As a developer, it absolutely is more of a decision to make. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't care either way. Like I admire what Steam and what Valve have done, but yeah, I couldn't care if I need to just go to a different website to buy the game I want to play. I don't care. It's the same for me as
exactly. It's no different
EB Games or JB Hi-Fi or whatever. It's about convenience and however I can get that game quickest in my hands.
But it's almost like discussing which console are you going to play it on. Like it really doesn't. When has that ever been a problem for a person who has access to both options? You just pick one and go with it.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Exactly. And the last little quick hit before we jump into two more deeper dives. Microsoft's exclusive Cuphead is heading to the Switch this April. So Microsoft sharing exclusive IP with, their now pseudo best friends Nintendo. Huge.
It's a massive deal. It's definitely a game that was perfect for the Switch. Like, it only made sense that it would belong there. And, I loved seeing everyone's hype over it too. So, looks like I'm going to have to buy this game again. Because I have it on PC, and it works. Like, it's fine. I do use a controller to play it. But I feel like porting it onto the Switch, it'll feel way better. It'll make sense.
Yeah, it's exciting. It'll feel great in handheld mode on the Switch. But yeah, it's this whole practicing what they're preaching as far as Microsoft wanting their games to be just anywhere. They just want gamers to play on whatever platform they're comfortable with, and this is evidence to that. So yeah, see what happens.
Playing ball.
It's exciting. And then Sony's still over in the corner going bah humbug. But you know what? They're winning this race, so they don't really care. They are the market leaders in this generation. So watch this space. So the first major news talking point this week, I guess it ties nicely into that last sort of quick hit. Microsoft and Sony both taking a leaf from Nintendo's playbook, announcing very Nintendo Direct-esque stream/events. So first and foremost, we will cover Microsoft, and then I'll talk about Sony, and then we can sort of wrap it all together. So what Microsoft are doing is you can expect to learn more about some of the hottest ID at Xbox titles coming to Xbox Game Pass, with new reveals, gameplay highlights, and conversations with the developers, the platform holder stated. It went on to tease information on After Party, Void Bastards, and Supermarket Shriek, as well as, in quotes, new game announcements. You'll be able to watch on YouTube as well as Microsoft's Inside Xbox streams. ID at Xbox Game Pass airs at 9 a.m. Pacific Time or 3 a.m. Australian Eastern Time in Sydney on March the 26th. And then Sony, they are coming at you via way of State of Play, which will give you updates and announcements from the world of PlayStation. PlayStation Director of Social Media Sid Schumann said in announcing the show, "Our first episode will showcase upcoming PS4 and PSVR software, including new trailers, new game announcements, and new gameplay footage. State of Play airs at 2 p.m. Pacific Time on March the 25th. So this is literally in the next 2 to 3 days' time as we record this on Sunday, March 24th. we got some announcements coming our way.
Yeah, it's very interesting that they kind of sat back and just kind of saw what Nintendo was doing. You can't deny that there's an overwhelming hype whenever a Nintendo Direct's coming up. Everyone talks about it. You're ready for it. What are you anticipating? It's like a little mini, press conference, like little freaking. But I mean, how regular are they going to be? Are they just going to keep on pushing them out, whether they actually have anything to give?
I think that's going to be the fine line. Do you just oversaturate the airways for the sake of just being out there in front of people and have maybe sort of watered down ID at Xbox Game Pass or watered down state of play events? Or is this going to be maybe a quarterly thing where they can focus around a few new key announcements on sort of, gaming software coming to those platforms? But, it's funny because we've been talking so often the last few months about how E3 looks like it's on a downward cycle with some of these massive developers and publishers stepping away from holding press conferences at the event and then instead focusing more on these intimate sort of, smaller, more targeted events. So yeah, it's cool.
I mean, these smaller kind of releases are good in the sense that they are able to either, make them just quick hits, get to the point, get the content out there, and just plant the seed, in people's respective buyer's brain. But it would also be good to take the time to actually highlight maybe certain games that maybe don't get the amount of time that they deserve in larger spaces when it comes to announcements. So maybe they can look at that.
Yeah, so on episode 145, we'll be talking about, I guess, the first episodes or runs from both Sony and Microsoft. Dream, where do you stand on all this stuff? What's your thoughts?
Probably the same as yours. It makes me wonder about what they're actually going to, what Microsoft are going to do at E3 this year and whether Sony will ever go back. I think this is just about being front and center and, the fore in everyone's minds, just getting your brand out there as much as you possibly can to I guess create a perception that you're absolutely dominating this weird space called gaming. Yeah, it's interesting. I think the proof's in the pudding though. What are they actually going to be talking about and how often are they going to be around?
But it's exciting. No more announcements is never a bad thing.
Wait, hold on. Is it exciting?
I think so.
Do you think that they're going to actually really be dropping significant announcements in these things? Or do you think this is just kind of more of an update on where things in flight are at the moment?
Yeah, I think it'll be sort of more mini updates and announcements, but maybe they do a twice yearly thing where they do sort of drop a massive big, here's a new exclusive IP, or here's the first trailer for Obsidian's new game, or whatever it might be. So,
sure. Because I would argue that Nintendo's been doing this already, and the fact that both Sony and Microsoft are doing theirs within 2 days of each other indicates that this is more of a strategic decision to push out some content than it is that they both happen to have something actually exciting to talk about.
I'm curious on the Microsoft front if they're going to be talking about xCloud. Maybe there'll be a little bit of an xCloud focus on the back of the next bit of news we'll be talking about shortly. So
this just seems more knee jerky to me than actually planned marketing strategy because they've actually got something worth talking about. I think this is just a reaction to perhaps the good work Nintendo is doing or something else that we don't know about.
But yeah, maybe this is just a further nail in the coffin of E3 long term, where they do just start doing these smaller, more targeted, focused events. And as we said, more of these regularly is never a bad thing. Being able to see behind that curtain every month or every few months is a lot more exciting than waiting to June every year to get all the announcements, both big, small, irrelevant or otherwise.
Yeah, I also just think them all putting together all content, all special features, because a lot of it, sometimes even if it's not too impactful, of if they're adding a certain DLC or they're adding some little tiny element to whether it's Microsoft Store or Sony or whatever, having that information all in one little space is sometimes more useful than it being sporadically released in like quick social media PR little drops. Having it in one stream might actually be more useful and actually retainable. Yeah,
that message is clearer and more concise. So we'll see. You know, we don't have to wait long to see the debut of Sony and Microsoft's respective little Nintendo Direct-esque events. So we'll see what happens later this week. Yeah. So the next bit of news, which was pretty big time, the Google Stadia has been announced and unveiled, and this was revealed during Google's GDC 2019 conference. And the Google Stadia is an upcoming hardware-free video game streaming platform capable of streaming said video games at 4K 60 FPS at launch, with later goals of achieving 8K 120 FPS plus already scheduled on the roadmap. So a little bit of tech spec before we sort of get our feedback and thoughts on it. It features a custom 2.7 GHz hyper-threaded x86 CPU with AVX2 SMID. It also boasts a custom AMD GPU that's capable of 10.7 teraflops of power using HBM2 memory and 56 compute units. For memory, it has 16 gig of RAM with up to 484 gigabit a second transfer speeds and 9.5 megabits of L2 plus L3 cache. On top of all this, it includes SSD cloud storage. So what exactly does all that mean? Well, its 10.7 GPU teraflops surpass the GPU performance of PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X combined. So they come in at about 10.2 GPU teraflops total. And then as far as CPU performance, it's similarly head and shoulders above this home console competition. Ultimately, these initial specs could rival next-gen consoles. So, pretty big time. Exciting in some regards. I've got a level of hesitation on this overall, especially for the Australian network ecosystem, because it was later confirmed you are going to need 25 megabits per second speeds to successfully use the Stadia in the way it is intended. So that probably wipes out 80% of the Australian market. As it's slated as of today, only the US, Canada, and then a couple of countries within Europe on the roadmap for the Stadia release later this year, with more countries to come online down the track as well. But we'll be waiting patiently or impatiently for this thing to hit our shores. Yeah, but Google Stadia, Dream, where you at with this thing?
I don't know. It's a bit early, isn't it?
I don't know. They showed some gameplay, like people playing and some of the functionalities and the controller and the bit of the UI. Where do you stand? My first thing before I hand it back over to you, the name is dumb. Google Stadia is stupid.
I woke up to people talking about Stadia, and I'm like straight up Stadia. Everyone's talking about sweetener.
Did they say anywhere in the marketing where the names sort of come from, derived from, how they came up with Stadia?
Not that I've seen.
Someone said something about stadiums.
Well, that's sort of what the word's derived from. So maybe it is, I don't know, some clever wordplay that ties into, I don't know, you can play anywhere in the world in front of all these fans. I don't know. I have no idea. Someone in Google came up with this.
This is definitely the future, I think, in terms of where gaming will go ultimately. So there are a number of companies out there that are developing like bare bones requirements hardware to sell, which allows you to stream from somewhere else where they have just the processing power to run games, at fucking, however many teraflops you want to run it. But the idea that you, instead of having the hardware in your house to actually play games to a high quality, but rather stream it and let the power be taken over on the other side, and all you need is a decent internet connection. I think that is actually going to be the future. Again, there are a number of companies working on this. There's a company called Shadow that's working on something similar, where probably like a lesser version of what Google's just announced with Stadia, but effectively you buy this really shitty box, but it lets you plug into Steam. Yeah. And then from there, you can actually just play whatever you want. The onus is on you though to have the internet connection, and that's like you called out where we fall short here in Australia for the most part. I think the adoption will be slow for that reason. I think that, you know, probably our kids will be adults by the time that sort of vision is recognized truly. It depends on how soon we can get this NBN out here in Australia. But I think that is ultimately where it will go. It just makes more sense. It just seems cheaper for players to just get the, you know, just again, bare bones hardware as opposed to state of the art, just to run whatever game it is on the day. And I think that something like this would have a pretty good user experience in terms of connectivity and feel, so long as you can hit that, you know, for Stadia, 25 megs. Yeah. I think it's good. Again, I think it's a little early to talk about how successful this will be in the markets it rolls out in, but it's definitely going in the direction that I think ultimately the industry is going to follow.
Yeah. What about you, Miss Hart? What's your opinion? I know you know a few people that got into a few of the beta tests on this late last year, if I recall. So you've sort of got a little bit of on the ground feedback as well.
Yeah, and it was actually mostly positive. The experience was pretty streamlined with like low to no, like, you know, stuttering or disconnection. Like the concept is great. Like it's awesome. Like much like Sam said, like removing the hardware aspect and just having like a singular platform of being able to play all these games is a great idea. In regards to like all the stats that are coming out and what's the minimum requirements, from what I understand, also it's not just Australia that's really being like cut out. Like a lot of areas in America are also saying that they're going to be seeing themselves not being involved. Like they won't even match those requirements. I do think it's funny that Google has provided this gaming platform that is predominantly focused on streaming and internet connectivity, especially with Google having their own internet, Google Fiber. So, you know, wondering when that comes hand to hand, if that starts getting pushed through. Like I said, pipeline it's the idea is great. I love the idea. Australia won't be getting it. I love that they left us off because they probably knew that we were a lost cause. You don't want to launch something with a bad name anyway. But yeah, like it'll just be interesting to see what the rollout is. I'm sure it's going to be a very specifically targeted platform, but when's this?
It's slated for later this year to come out. So yeah, so somewhere in the next 9 months, it's going to drop. So
yeah, have they specified whether it's like a very extremely limited rollout, or they?
Nothing.
I guess they've already done the beta. So.
Yeah, nothing that I've sort of been able to dig up. As far as if they are doing certain territories in the US only to begin with. I think it's going to be a nationwide type of thing, and you jump on it at your own peril, I guess, depending on your network infrastructure. It is exciting, but I'm with you guys wholeheartedly on that. Like, we are several years away being able to sort of perform this without stress or doubt or any concern on that network backend that we're going to be leveraging off. Especially with ISPs here in Australia, like they can throttle up or throttle down your downloads and things like that. And when you're going to be potentially needing maybe 7 gig an hour to do 4K 60 frames per second, they are going to be scaling your bandwidth down pretty damn quickly, which will then make a device like this pretty useless really, really fast, which would be very upsetting for sort of owners of said hardware. So I don't know, but I like it though.
Yeah, I think we're also ignoring one of the other key parts of this story, which is that Google are now very heavily in the gaming space. So this is I think a really good first step for them, because I don't think this is a particularly expensive product to produce for them. They're not having to go all in on things like, factories, buying parts, buying hardware. They don't do hardware well. They do software well. So this is a really good way for them to dip their toe into the water and then look at establishing themselves and then building on that, in the years to come. And again, this is Google saying, probably for the first time, I think, we're here and we're in gaming now.
Yeah, like they on the back of this
huge.
event confirmed that they're going to be making their own in-house exclusive games. They've opened up their own little game division, so that's pretty big time. They also had id come out and talk about Doom Eternal landing on this at launch. Obviously, the Assassin's Creed Odyssey beta tests were occurring late last year on this, so there's some alliances with a lot of third-party developers and publishers out there. So they'll be bringing a whole heap of content to this platform. Obviously, the controller they showed just didn't look very ergonomic to me. Didn't look like it'd feel good in the hands, but then they also later confirmed that you'd be able to use an Xbox One controller with the adapter as that controller replacement too, if you want to go down that route. So you've got flexibility on what's going to feel good in your hands. Keyboard and mouse support will be down the line there too. So you've got some options. But yeah, it's now, Google have dropped the mic, and now we're going to see what happens with xCloud, whether it be in this Xbox event later this week or at E3. We even saw a news article the other day that Walmart are looking to get into game streaming services. Obviously, one of the big American retail giants. They want to try and throw their hat into this ring as well. So, I don't know.
Google's got the money.
Oh, yeah, and the infrastructure too.
And the infrastructure, yeah, maybe they've done this and they already understand maybe the requirements that they're asking for is very exclusive. So, and Sam actually brought up a good point in regards to exactly how much they actually have to invest into this, like the whole fact that they don't have to produce hardware exactly. So maybe they understood that whoever was going to jump on this understood what the requirements are, so that exclusivity also doesn't affect them. They're not necessarily locking anyone out. It's all up to the person, really.
It is sort of pie in the sky stuff for a lot of modern day society, but it's exciting to think about and envision in a few years' time that we can grab a little controller and be playing God of War 20 or whatever it might be by then on our smartphone or on our TV in our lounge room, and then seamlessly jump on and then play that game on the phone or on the laptop in the bedroom or the tablet or whatever. I like that pick up and put down and then pick up again functionality they're talking about. They do say it's pretty seamless going from device to device with games and saves. And a few other things they implemented were pretty cool as well, but we'll see. There's going to be a lot of chatter about this over the next few months. So let's just sit on the fence and enjoy our popcorn.
2019, the year of gaming streaming.
That's it. But as they say in Ghostbusters, don't cross the streams. I don't know why you wouldn't, but I like Ghostbusters.
I don't think I've seen the Ghostbusters movie.
What?
Any of them?
Yeah. I've probably seen more of the more recent one than any of the other two.
My God, that hurts my heart.
Yeah, I'm not really good with the benchmark of, cinema. I haven't even seen Godfather, so,
Oof.
All right.
Yeah, we need to prepare you a list.
Let's move along.
I understand that one to a degree. I do understand that one.
Yeah, they are an undertaking. That is what 10 hours. 10 hours of cinema, I think, all up for those movies.
Under.
I'm happy. I saw Goodfellas. Someone convinced me to watch Goodfellas, and I watched that, and that was fantastic. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so that has been the news for episode 144. We're going to start closing this bad boy down for another week. Is there anything either of yourselves wanted to add before we start doing the closing notes?
No, I just played Crypt of the Necrodancer. Play it now, so then you can get a vibe of when Credence? I always go to say Credence.
Cadence.
But it's a
Cadence of Hyrule.
I always think of Credence Clearwater Revival for some reason. The CCR. Play Crypt of the Necrodancer. And CCR.
And Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, because it is great, and you will feel the pain that I'm encountering as well. So get excited to ride that emotional roller coaster. Dream, please pick it up when you get a spare minute, and jump on so we can sob collectively together. And then Miss Hart, you get on it too. I know you said you were interested, so let's go down to feudal Japanese shinobi and demons as a whole, because we're a team here.
I don't know, man. DC needs me.
Touché.
President needs me.
Touche. All right, so this has been episode 144 of the Hungry Gamers podcast. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe us on iTunes or your podcast hosting platform of choice. While you're there, be sure to rate, review, subscribe the rest of the hashtag 8bit Collective, as well as all the other podcasts you listen to in your rotation. It takes you next to no time, and it means an awful lot. Keeps those emotional lights on in our hearts. Be sure to check out audiotechnica.com.au for the best in audio-based equipment. We're talking microphones, headphones, gaming headsets. As I said earlier in the piece, headsets, you can grab a mod mic and convert that from headphone to headset and back and forth, and take it with you wherever you go. But also check out twitter.com/weare8bit for ways to enter to win yourself a set of M40X headphones and a mod mic. As I said, over $250 worth of value, and it's really, really, really good kit. We've been using their gear since well before we formed an official partnership with Audio-Technica, and we will stand by that brand to the day we die. But this has been episode 144. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Find me at Brendan8bit. Miss Ali Hart can be found at Miss Ali Hart, and Dream can be found at Salim TD. Until next week, 8-Bit Nation, much love.
Stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.